Welcome back, Nation of Glory. Today, we step into the world of a man whose dedication to his craft has redefined what commitment in cinema truly means. A man who doesn't just act, he transforms. A man who has bent his body, shaped his soul, and challenged the limits of human dedication for the sake of storytelling. A man who never sought fame but earned global respect. A man who taught the world that greatness is not about applause, it is about the willingness to push yourself to places most will never dare to go. This is the story of Christian Charles Philip Bale. Not just an actor, but a force. Not just a performer, but a living testament to what discipline and passion look like when fused at the highest level. A story of sacrifice, evolution, quiet strength, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Christian Bale was not born into the roaring glamour of Hollywood. He was born in Wales, into a life that looked ordinary from the outside. A young boy surrounded not by flashing cameras, but by humble beginnings, artistic influence, and the spark of imagination. His mother was a performer, and from her, Christian learned early that creativity was more than entertainment. It was expression, it was freedom, it was power. His father, a man with ideals and a restless spirit, showed him movement, change, and the courage to live life without anchors. Many children dream of movies. Christian didn't just dream, he observed. He watched the world, he studied people, he learned from silence as much as from sound. He understood emotion before he understood fame. That is where the seed was planted, not in glamour, but in depth. And soon, destiny knocked. He stepped into the world of performance as a child actor, with wide eyes and raw talent. And in a film that would become legendary, a powerful story of survival and loss, the world first glimpsed a boy who wasn't simply acting, he was living truth on screen. From a very young age, he carried intensity. Emotion flowed through him naturally. He didn't imitate pain, he felt it. He didn't pretend to dream, he dreamed fully. Rarely do we see a young performer with the emotional maturity to hold the heart of a scene. Bale had it. Critics noticed. Audiences noticed. And the industry, well, it began to whisper his name. But whispers can be dangerous. Fame is a tide. For many, it sweeps them away before they truly learn to swim. But Christian was different. Even as a boy, he did not chase the wave, he learned how to stand in it without losing himself. But childhood stardom comes with shadows. Attention grows heavy, expectations sharpen, and young Christian felt the weight of it. Acting for him was passion, but the world's spotlight, it was noise. He learned early that he did not crave fame, he craved the craft. And that separation would define the rest of his life. Through adolescence, he faced the turbulence that comes with pressure and identity. But instead of breaking, he grounded himself deeper in discipline. Every role he chose from then on wasn't about remaining visible, it was about truth. About challenge. About stretching beyond the comfort zones of talent into the dangerous territory of commitment. It didn't matter if the story was dark or hopeful, if the character was broken or powerful. Bale entered every role like a soldier entering battle, fully committed, prepared to sacrifice, unwilling to hold back even one breath. He did not play characters. He became them. The world saw flashes of it early, but then came the role that made Hollywood stop, stunned, unable to turn its eyes away. A story of obsession, decline, and haunting silence. Christian Bale physically transformed himself far beyond what most would consider safe or sane. Not for show, but because the character demanded truth. He starved. He shrank. He hurt. All because he believed the audience deserved honesty. Because art, for him, was not illusion. It was immersion. And then, as if testing the limits of human will, he reshaped himself again, building muscle, strength, presence, as he stepped into one of the most iconic roles in cinema history. But we won't quote films here, we won't imitate lines, because Christian's journey is bigger than any fictional universe. What matters is not the mask he wore but the commitment he showed, the intensity he brought, and the way he elevated a beloved character into a symbol that audiences would never forget. He didn't become a superhero, he became the discipline behind one. From dramatic collapse to towering strength, he shifted like clay in the hands of his own discipline. Critics called it method, fans called it dedication, but Christian called it the work. To him, acting was not a platform, it was a responsibility. When he accepted a role, he offered his whole being. And in return, he did not ask for praise, only the chance to disappear into each character with purity. But every transformation has a cost. The body bends, the mind strains, the world watches but does not see the battles beneath the skin. Christian Bale sacrificed comfort, safety, sometimes health, and always a piece of himself. Yet through all of it, he held one thing sacred: privacy. In a world hungry for personal details, he kept his life shielded, not because he was distant, but because he valued truth over spectacle. He did not need tabloid attention, red carpet glitz, or social media validation. His validation came through performance, and performance alone. Then came role after role in genres spanning every tone and size. Historical figures, unstable minds, hardened survivors, Flawed geniuses. Men who loved deeply and men who burned inside their own rage. Christian Bale did not choose easy characters, he gravitated toward souls with storms. Because storms are where truth hides. And he chased truth like a pilgrim chases meaning. Award after award followed, not because the industry favored him, but because he earned them. Every nomination was sweat, every trophy was sacrifice, every applause was silence afterward, because the moment he left the stage, he returned not to extravagance but to simplicity. Family, quiet, grounded life. Many actors live in the noise. Christian seeks the quiet. That is why he remains special. Not only because he can shift his body for a role, but because he shifts his spirit for one. He listens to silence. He studies humanity. He carries emotional weight with the gentleness of someone who understands that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the deepest form of strength. People often ask how someone can change so drastically for roles. Lose weight, gain weight, learn new accents, change posture, voice, rhythm. But the real transformation is internal. He does not ask, what does this character look like? He asks, what does this character hurt like? Because pain shapes people more than physicality ever will. He enters darkness not to shock viewers, but to honor truth. He enters power not to dominate, but to reveal the fragility beneath strength. That is artistry. That is mastery. That is Christian Bale. But this story is not only about art, it is about a man learning who he is through it all. For years, he chased perfection. And perfection is a dangerous companion. It whispers that you are never enough, no matter how extraordinary you become. He pushed himself to extremes until he learned that the real victory is not mastery of the art, but peace with oneself. Over time, Christian balanced ambition with wisdom. He learned that being great at something is not the goal, being whole is. Now he stands as one of the rare actors whose name alone commands respect, not for fame, but for consistency, integrity, devotion, and courage. Not courage in the face of danger, but courage in the face of vulnerability. He continues to pick roles with meaning. He continues to challenge norms. He continues to avoid the spotlight unless the spotlight has purpose. He remains one of Hollywood's most respected figures because he has never betrayed his craft for convenience. And beyond sets and scripts, he remains committed to causes, to voices unheard, to lives unseen by the glamorous world. Because talent without empathy is empty. But Christian Bale has empathy in abundance. His story reminds us that greatness is not loud, sometimes it whispers. Success is not always celebrated, sometimes it suffers quietly before it shines. Talent is not enough, sacrifice and patience must walk beside it. And passion, real passion, is not glamorous. It is discipline, it is pain, it is lonely, but it creates immortality. Christian Bale is not remembered because of costumes, muscles, or roles, he is remembered because he respects the art. Because he respects the journey. Because he respects his audience. Because he respects himself. And if his life teaches us anything, it is this. You do not need to chase applause to become legendary. You do not need to explain your dreams, you need to live them. You do not need to be loud to be powerful. You do not need to be seen all the time to matter. You only need to commit to your purpose with everything inside you. Commitment is what writes legacy. Passion is what writes history. And Christian Bale, through silence, sacrifice, and fire, has written both. So to the dreamers watching this, greatness is not born in comfort. It is carved through commitment. It is built in quiet hours when no one is cheering. It is earned when you refuse to betray your purpose. Walk your path the way Christian Bale walks his, not for approval, but for meaning. Thank you for watching Nation of Glory. If this powerful story inspired you, then honor the journey. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who loves cinema, someone who loves discipline, and someone who needs to believe that passion, real passion, can change the world. Until next time, stay dedicated, stay focused, stay evolving, and keep chasing your glory. Nation of Glory, signing out.